Today, we're going beyond prices. Instead of looking at closed sales, which are already old news, we're looking at accepted contracts. Accepted contracts tells us what buyers and sellers are doing right now. They're essentially an early look at where the real estate market is heading in Northern Virginia. And the results for this past month are fascinating. Some parts of Northern Virginia remain fiercely competitive. Others have become surprisingly negotiable. Cash purchases are still incredibly common in some locations. Buyers are quietly regaining leverage in others. If you're buying or selling in Arlington, Alexandria, or Fairfax County, or even considering Loudoun or Prince William, these numbers can help you understand how to structure your offer and what to realistically expect. Let's dive right in. One thing I always tell clients, closed sales tell us where the market was 30 to 60 days ago. Contracts tell us where it is today. That is why I pay so much attention to contract reports. They are essentially the market's pulse. They answer questions like, how competitive are buyers? Are inspections coming back? Are appraisals being waived? Are people paying cash? Are homes still selling over asking price in Northern Virginia? Those answers matter far more than simply hearing that prices increased by 2 or 3%. Let's start with Arlington and Alexandria. One statistic immediately jumps off the page. Nearly 46% of all purchases were cash. Almost 1 out of every 2 homes was sold for cash. And that tells us several things. There are still plenty of well-capitalized buyers. There are investors. There are homeowners bringing significant equity from previous homes. This is not a market driven entirely by first-time buyers. Now, here's the statistic that surprised me the most. Only 14% of homes in Alexandria and Arlington sold above asking price. Meanwhile, 39% sold exactly at asking price, and 39% sold below asking. That paints a very different picture than many people imagine about the Northern Virginia market. A lot of people still think every listing receives 15 offers. That's simply not today's reality. A properly priced home, still competitive. An overpriced home, buyers are becoming much less forgiving. Another encouraging trend, more than half of these contracts included home inspections. That's a healthy sign. During the frenzy of the past few years, many buyers felt they had no choice but to waive inspections. Today, inspections are becoming much more common again. Financing and appraisal contingencies also appeared in nearly half of all contracts in Alexandria and Arlington. Again, a healthier market, one where buyers can often compete without giving up every protection. Now, let's move into Fairfax County. This market looked noticeably stronger. More than half, 54% of accepted offers sold above the asking price. That's a significant difference from Arlington and Alexandria. Why? Fairfax has a much larger inventory of move-up family homes in Vienna, Burke, West Springfield, Oakton, Fairfax Station, Centerville. Those neighborhoods continue attracting families looking for more space. Another statistic really stood out. Nearly 70% of contracts kept both the inspection and the appraisal contingencies. Now, competition exists, but buyers still have opportunities to protect themselves. Fairfax County also had far fewer cash buyers than Arlington and Alexandria, just about 23%. That means financing still dominates this market. And that's encouraging for conventional, FHA, and VA buyers. Let me give you a real example from just a couple of weeks ago. I was helping some buyers who were looking around the $1 million price point in the Alexandria section of Fairfax County. They were getting transferred here to go to Fort Belvoir. We lost out on the first house, which is frustrating, but it's part of the process in a competitive market. A few days later, we found another home that the buyers actually liked even better. On this home, there was only one competing offer. We went just a little above the asking price, not dramatically, and we were able to keep our inspection contingency and our appraisal contingency. We won. To me, that's a perfect example of what today's Fairfax County market looks like. It's competitive, but it's also rational. You don't necessarily have to waive every contingency or make an aggressive, risky offer to buy a great home. Sometimes a well-priced offer, a little patience, and the right strategy are enough. Now let me give you another recent example that shows why it's so important not to think of Northern Virginia as one market. I have clients who are actually settling this week on a high-rise condominium in the Falls Church area of Fairfax County. Before finding the right one, we toured several different condos and compared a few units. One thing became very clear. Buyers currently have a lot more choices in many parts of the condo market than they do in the detached home market. The condo they ultimately chose had been on the market for quite a while. There were no competing offers. Because of that, we were able to negotiate a purchase price below the asking price. We also kept all of the normal protections, a home inspection, an appraisal contingency, and a financing contingency. There was absolutely no need to waive those just to get the deal done. That's a good reminder that headlines can be misleading. Someone might hear that Northern Virginia is a hot market and assume that every property sells immediately with multiple offers. That's simply not the case. Different property types behave differently. A desirable detached home may still attract multiple offers, while certain condos, especially those with more competing inventory, can offer buyers significantly more negotiating power. That is why I always caution buyers against making decisions based on broad market headlines. Don't assume that every seller has all the leverage, or that every buyer does. In Northern Virginia, your negotiating position depends on the county, the neighborhood, the price range, and even the property type. Understanding those differences can literally save or cost you tens of thousands of dollars. Let's briefly compare Loudoun and Prince William. I'm not going to spend much time here because most of my clients focus on closer in to DC. However, it's useful for perspective. Loudoun looked remarkably balanced. Only 8% of homes sold above asking. Most sold at asking or below asking. Financing dominated. Inspections were very common. That's beginning to resemble a more traditional housing market. Now, Prince William leaned even further towards buyers. About 70% of homes sold at or below asking price. Only around 15% sold above asking in Prince William County. If you're willing to trade a longer commute for negotiating power, Prince William currently offers buyers considerably more leverage. So, what should buyers take away? First, stop assuming that every listing will have 10 offers. Many won't. Study each neighborhood individually. Second, don't automatically waive home inspections. Many successful buyers are not doing that. Third, price matters. A great home, priced correctly, can still generate competition, and an overpriced home in Northern Virginia may sit. For sellers, don't panic. This is still a healthy market. Strategy matters more than ever. Presentation, pricing, marketing, negotiations. Those things matter much more when buyers have choices. One mistake that I continue seeing: some sellers are still pricing based on what happened in 2022. Today's buyers are more analytical. They're comparing inventory, calculating monthly payments, negotiating more carefully. If I had to summarize Northern Virginia right now, in the beginning of August of 2026, I would describe it as competitive but selective. We're no longer seeing buyers chase every listing regardless of the price. Instead, they're chasing value. Great homes in Northern Virginia still move quickly. Average homes require patience. Overpriced homes become negotiable. And perhaps my favorite statistic from this report is the return of home inspections. That's just good for everyone. Buyers understand what they're purchasing. Sellers know the problems up front, and transactions themselves become healthier. The Northern Virginia market is not crashing, and it's not exploding. It's maturing. And for both buyers and sellers, that's actually a good thing. If you're thinking about buying or selling anywhere in Northern Virginia, from Arlington and Alexandria to Fairfax County and beyond, I help clients interpret what's happening beyond the headlines. Every neighborhood has its own story, and understanding those differences can save you thousands of dollars and a lot of unnecessary stress. If you found this update helpful, subscribe to my YouTube channel. I post regular Northern Virginia updates, neighborhood tours, and practical advice to help you make smarter real estate decisions. And I'd love to hear from you in the comments. What are you seeing in your neighborhood? Has your experience matched what these contract numbers are suggesting?